Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are going to have a play with Stampin' Bella today. We can do a little bit of colouring because I like me some colouring. So we have this, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this word properly, Mochi Girls. So I really like Stampin' Bella. They're just so pretty, just lovely. We're going to stamp this down with a little bit of Memento Tuxedo Black because we're going to use my Copics. I have sped this up because Copics can take quite a while, so we're going to use those. Yet again, I'm going to pull out my colour wheel and have a look at some triad colours. Okay, so triad colours are colours that are equally spaced between. So we've got a grey, I don't have a grey, I actually have a warm grey, but the three main colours we've got are going to be not involving our skin or our hair, but green, we've got an orange for the cup, and we're going to have a violet, a purple for the table. I am going to use some slightly different colours with the skin here to branch out a little bit in my skin tones. So we're going to use E13, E11, EO and EOOO. For her cheeks, we're going to use R20. I'm also going to start off with that on her lips as well, but I'm going to change that later on. We're going to bring in another colour, slightly darker for her lips. At the moment, I'm just going through and just figuring out what parts will be the darkest. So underneath her fringe, I'm sort of going to try and do like the light source coming down from the right hand side, and so the shadows are going to be on the left, hopefully on the darker on the left, hopefully. The way they've drawn this hair is really very interesting. So I'm trying to go through and pick out things that would be underneath other things that might be a little bit darker. So I'm colouring it slightly different because it's not solid. So these are the areas that I sort of decided that might be a little bit darker than the rest. So we're going to use E39, E37, 35, 33, and my last colour is going to be YR20. So I'm using just like little flicking motions and going through just to keep that texture of the hair. I did struggle with this a little bit because I'm waiting for new glasses to arrive. So in some places I got a little bit overzealous. In other places I didn't get quite so close as I probably should be. COVID times, what can we say? So everything takes longer in COVID. Post, we're also, my husband's ordered a new car. That's going to be forever and a day. And glasses. That would normally take a couple of weeks. Probably going to take longer. But what can you do? Sit back and try to colour things nicely. Again, here I'm just sort of trying to figure out what might be underneath something else to give a little bit of movement through the hair and a little bit of texture. And honestly, I quite like the way it turned out, so I think I did quite well. We're just working our way down again in little flick motions. Trying to pay attention to the way it's all been drawn. So slowly starting to warm up here in Melbourne. Yay. The sun is out, it's bright. Even if we get cloudy days, it's nice and bright, so that's always nice and handy. The only problem is you're going to like spring cleaning if you're that type of person. I saw something, I'm going to digress here. I saw something on Facebook, YouTube maybe, about Cleaning tile grout with this gel cleaner. Don't do it. Yes, it does clean so much easier, but it took me forever, and also I still don't think it's all off the floor. So yeah, it took me forever to actually get it off, because I wiped the floor and then rinsed the cloth and wiped the floor and then rinsed the cloth and wiped the floor. You get the point? So if you have an easier way to clean tiles on your floor, let me know. Clean the grout. It's not the tiles, it's the grout. Anyway, that was my story this morning. That was my life trying to clean these tiles. So it's all fun and games. Moving on, because you don't want to hear stories about my cleaning grout. That's boring. Moving on, we're going to use a different combination with her top here. So we've got BG78, BG49, 45, YG11, BG10, and E50. Really, her top is not that big for all those colours, but it was a little bit different. I went over it a couple of times because I wasn't happy with the first layer of colour, but that's quite normal. So honestly, this YG11 sort of gives it quite a bit of a glow, I think. So I went across it a couple of times, but I'd like to try on a bigger image that I didn't have to figure out the shadows and everything quite as much. That would be nice to try that out first time around. But I like it. Yeah, it gave it a real sort of bit of glow. I'm just going back in and making the shadows darker, but also reducing some of the highlighted areas because they were a bit too much. When I go over to the other side, right, then it's a little bit harder because her hair is quite curly and quite puffy, and I didn't quite know what needed to be colored this color, but that's all right. I think it all worked out quite nicely, so you don't get quite as much highlight. I don't go down. Well, I go down in the color sort of thing, but I don't do the last color. Moving on to our little cup, we have YR08, 04, Y38, and 35. So if our shadows on the right hand are right, then the left hand side is going to be a little bit darker. Now I left a little bit of a gap between right there, a gap between the edge of the cup and the highlighted, the darkened area, the shadow, just because it would have a little bit of reflective light. I just went in there with her lips for R43. The desk that we're going to colour here is going to be V25, V12, and V01. I'm just going to sort of have it coming out and blend it out a little bit, but it's going to have a relatively solid line, but that's all right. With the book, that is going to be a combination between W3 and W1, but I do come in with a little bit of W5 right there, just for the very center of the book and just underneath her arm to give her a little bit more of a shadow. The pencil, I'm just going to color in very, very straightforward with a W5, I think, or W3, let's say. There's going to be a little bit of shadow right underneath it with that pencil. I've got this stamp set, which is my favorite thing. So it's called Bitty, Thanks and Gratitude. So there's lots of thank yous, sincere thanks with gratitude, thanks a bunch, thanks friend, lots and lots of different versions. So you've got thank you for being awesome, many thanks, thanks a million. It's quite a long What would it be? I'm not very good with inches, but it's a very long stamp set. I've got this paper by Minte, I may be pronouncing that wrong, called Suntastic, and I really like this center, this panel here. Because it's so pretty, I'm going to die cut the center out of it. There we go. And we're going to save that for later on. So I'm going to glue down this paper, and then my other piece is going to be raised up. Now, I think because I trimmed this paper by the cutter and the die, I used a die for my panel. I think it's going to be the paper, but it's a little bit wonky, but that's all right, because I always leave a little bit of a gap in between the edge of the cardstock anyway. So I'm going to use a ruler and a very sharp craft knife and just be sneaky and trim off the edge. Link below in the description box, there will be a link over, down below in the description box, there'll be a link over to my blog, which will have a list of all the colours. It will have a couple other photos as well. That's my card. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. I'll talk to you next time. Thank you. Bye.